Hello, my internet ghoulies, goblins, and internet trolls. Today we will be updating my reading journal because I read this Notes from the Underground. And actually, I'm pretty sure it was a reread because I have a feeling I read this when I was because when I was like 16, I used to read a lot of the classics. And actually, going in, I was apprehensive because I read the first page and then I was like, I pretty much know what it's about. And then I did what every book person should never do, which is to go on Goodreads and see what people said. Because Goodreads is owned by Amazon, and so they push a lot of the good reviews, like 5 stars, 4 stars reviews. And despite what I usually do, I did not take the time out to check the 1 star, 2 stars, 3 star reviews because I said, hey, this is so small. Everybody's saying it's so great. Like, it has to be good. And indeed, it was a waste of time. So, we will be updating my reading journal in this video. So this is it. It's a pretty thick notebook. I purchased it from a local dollar store, and voila, my reading journal. And so I will be opening it to my page, and we will be going. And I'll just show you how I do it. I do it really quickly because even though aesthetically it's better when you print out the image of the book or you do all these other things, that's really cool. I can't do that. I just can't. I've tried it. It's a lot of work, or at least it feels like a lot of work at this moment. So we're just going to do it simple. So what I use is a pen. Both of these are from my local dollar store as well. So this is like a regular black gel pen, and this is a highlighter. So the first thing I do is all in caps. I write the title of the book. So we're going to do notes from the underground. Et voila. And then what I do is I take my trusty gel pen and to jazz it up a bit, I do in cursive over each word. I screwed up there, but don't worry about it. It's just for me anyways, so. And then underground. Hee hee hee. It was such a waste of time, in my opinion. And then I'll just write the name in cap locks. Fyodor. Your boy Fyodor. And then Dostoyevsky. Perfect. And so from this point, what I usually do is I mark a general rating that, just like an overall, it doesn't necessarily have to be in depth. I'll do that later, but this is just like my first reaction. So I will put 1 star. I go up to 5 stars, by the way. And then I do in one sentence. So like a 1 sentence summary. Often I do it vague because if I do want to reread a book, I want to be surprised again. And I want to get like new meaning from it. So, and my memory is such where I don't remember everything I read. So it's like a 1 sentence summary is usually perfect. So for this, we put a middle-aged man rants about the rich. And I think that pretty much sums it up. All right, and then after that, I break it down a bit. And again, this is not like, so it's gonna seem a little stupid because I do separate stars. But like I said, this first rating is just like a general sense. And then I go more in depth of it after. But sometimes like you'll see it doesn't necessarily reflect the proper mathematics of that 1 star review. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But so I do overall plot, character, world building, pacing, and style. So these are my separate categories that I try to review. And so plot wise, it's going to be 1 star as well because the first, it's not really half, but like, and it's, I don't think it's a third, but the first portion is just him being an unreliable narrator, just ranting about like rich people and their, well, he doesn't specify necessarily rich, I don't think, but he says like people who think they are of importance, or like officers or something who have higher ranking than him in society and things like that. And it's just, he goes on and on. And I, there's one part like, he says, "Oh, I was lying when I said just now that I was a spiteful official. I was lying from spite. I was simply amusing myself with the petitioners and with the officer, and in reality, I never could become spiteful." And it's just stuff like that that's really pretentious. And I was just like, ugh. And then the second portion, nothing like really happens. It's just a day in the life of this man who feels this way. Yeah. And then so characters too, unfortunately, that's a 1 star right there. Because first off, we have our main character who is not likable at all. And then we have like a few other characters, his friends, but not friends. Let's see where their names are. I had to annotate this one so that you guys would hear this. We have Ferfichkin, Simonov, Tudolyubov, and Zurkov, none of which had any distinctive characterization to them besides potentially Zurkov. I couldn't tell who was who when I was reading. It was just. And then there was this other girl from the, spoiler alert, the I don't know if I'm even allowed to say this on the tube, a whore house. Anyways, she was in there for a minute and she didn't really have any character either. She was just like listening to our main character rant. So yeah, world building, that's also a 1 star because, like I said, there was not much of a plot, so there was not much of a world. We get a little bit of his apartment complex. I think it's an apartment complex. He has a landlord. I don't really remember. It wasn't memorable. But we hear more about his landlord and the tension they have between each other than we do of his actual surroundings. There's like, he goes out to eat at one point, besides like a waiter and maybe a plate. I don't know where he was. And then we have that particular house I mentioned earlier, and nothing was in depth, even though it's a short story. Like, I understand that, but there was nothing particular that was done to build this world that he created. But maybe that was the point because it's all about him ranting. So, Payson, 1 star, because it was broken down in two, and like the first part like didn't really have any pacing. It's just like a journal entry, and then the second part is just like a day in the life of someone who's miserable. Like, I could just open my own journals and have that. So whatever. Style, I don't know, 1 star. I could have given it 2, and that's why I say sometimes it doesn't reflect the overall rating, because I could have given it like a 2 star and been still kept my 1 star as the overall. I know it's complicated. I'm complicated. I'm chaotic. Just bear with me. But anyway, style, I'd have to give it a 1 because there was nothing particular about his writing style. There was nothing that really grabbed you, or I didn't find it like any kind of lyricism to it. It was just bleh. Like I read the portion to you. I don't know. I could pick up anywhere and read. We'll try to do a Russian accent, so bear with me because I'm not so good with accents, but just to make this more entertaining, I guess. But here, perhaps someone will catch at the world, at the word, and ask me, if you really don't reckon on readers, why do you make such compact with yourself and on paper too? That is, that you won't attempt any system or method, that you jot things down as you remember them, and so on, and so on. Why are you explaining? Why do you apologize? Well, there it is, I answer. Okay, I don't even know why I did that. Well, anyways, that's it. That's my reading journal. That's how I do things here. This was Notes from the Underground by Fyodor Dostoyevsky. And thank you for coming along on this journey.